Is Stonehenge a burial ground, a ceremonial site, a religious pilgrimage? I don't know. But what I do know is that in this video, I'll share a few practical tips if you plan on taking a day trip to Stonehenge from London based on my experience to the site coming right up. I'm Antoinette and welcome back to my channel. At Frolic and Courage, I like to give you the practical tools, tips, and resources to help you do the things you want to do. Because I believe that when you have these practical tips taken care of, it allows you to have the freedom to have fun, to frolic, have the courage to go visit new places and go and have a good time. So if you're interested in taking a day trip from London to Stonehenge, go ahead and click that like button and subscribe to my channel, and let's get right into it. So what is Stonehenge exactly? Well, scholars are debating this, but what they do know is that it was built in Neolithic times, and most scholars agree that it was an ancient burial site. There's also a lot of debate on how did these people of the ancient time build this site. The largest stone is about 40 tons and 24 feet tall. So how did they do it? Did they use some type of lard or grease? Did they use wooden pillars that they dragged about? I don't know, but that's what's part of the whole intrigue of Stonehenge, is that people are still trying to figure this thing out. And so Stonehenge is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that is operated by the English Heritage. English Heritage is a charity that manages over 400 prehistoric, historic, medieval sites like Stonehenge and Dover Castle all across England. So where exactly is Stonehenge on the map? Stonehenge is located in Wiltshire, England, about 88 miles or about a 2.5 hour drive from the city center of London. So great, so it's about 2.5 hours from London, but as a day trip, how do you get there exactly? You have a couple of different options. The first option you have is to drive. Parking on site is free with paid admission or about £5 without. You can also take a train, but that's a little bit more complicated. You can take the South Western Railway from Waterloo Station all the way to Salisbury, and from there you can take the Stonehenge bus from Salisbury train station all the way to the site. In total, with the train ticket and the bus, you might look at around 35 to 90 pounds based on the types of tickets you get, whether you want first class or coach. It might just be cheaper to either drive. If you don't want to drive, you can do what I did, and I took a small group tour where we met at a centrally located location in London, got on a small tour bus. We had a tour guide who gave us tours of the English countryside as well as a bit of commentary to the site. And my tour was actually a combo tour where we visited Stonehenge, Bath, and Windsor for one flat price. Transportation included, meals were not, but it was a nice way to just sit back and relax while getting there. And I'll put all the links down below so you can check out each option. So once you get there, how much does Stonehenge cost? Adults are about 19 pounds. Kids from ages 5 to 17 are roughly around 12 pounds or like 11 pounds 40, and children under 5 years old are completely free. There are family discounts for 2 adults and up to 3 kids available on the site, and if you take that combo tour like I did, it's going to be a little bit more than that, maybe around $100 to $150 depending on if you want to stop and get lunch. English Heritage also offers what's known as an overseas visitors pass that gives you access to over 100 sites like Dover and Stonehenge for one set price. You can buy either a 9-day or a 16-day pass, and for adults it ranges around 35 pounds, and you can check that out at their website down below. But nevertheless, get your tickets to Stonehenge online in advance, because during the busy tourist season, which tends to be summer, you may not get a space there. You know, they're bringing in multiple tour buses and it's a bit crowded. If you go during the fall, which is what I did, they're a little bit less crowded. So make sure you book your tickets online and in advance, because you don't want to drive 2.5 hours to London just to not be able to see the site. If you don't want to pay the cost of admission to Stonehenge, you can just kind of drive by it, but it's going to be on the road and at a distance, and cars are going to be kind of angry at you because it's a very narrow highway. So if you're stopping trying to look from a distance at Stonehenge, that may not be the best way to go about it, but if you just want to get a quick little glimpse, you can do that from the street as well. So now that you know a little bit about Stonehenge, how much it costs, how to get there from London, let's get into some of the practical things you need to know to make your visit that much sweeter. Stonehenge is open generally from about 9:30 in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening, but that also varies based on time of year and daylight and sunset times. And the site closes about 2 hours before each closing day. Tickets are issued on a time entry basis, and to have the least amount of crowding, go during off-peak seasons. Like I mentioned before, Stonehenge is very crowded during the summer months, but if you go during the fall and winter during the morning, you can generally see the site without a ton of crowding. There's gonna be crowds, but not crowding, if you know what I mean. From the parking lot, there are restrooms. So my next tip is to use the restrooms before you even embark on your Stonehenge journey. Stop there, take the time to use the restrooms, and then you'll stop at the Visitors Center. It's a little gift shop where you can see museums, a little tiny museum, exhibits, you can grab a drink at the cafe, you can buy things like a scarf like I did, and you can just kind of generally get a good idea of what you're about to see. From there, my next tip is to take the bus. So with paid admission, there is actually a bus because the Stonehenge site is about, let's just say a 10-minute bus ride from the Visitors Center, or it's about a 2-mile walk. You can either choose to walk it or take the free bus that's included with admission. That bus will stop halfway to the site if you want to stop off halfway and then walk up, or it'll take you to the full site. Each visit is around 30 minutes, and you can circle around Stonehenge, get back on the bus, which will take you to the Visitors Center where you can go to the parking lot. You also need to know to come dressed appropriately. In the fall when we went, it was so cold, y'all. It was very cold, it was wet, it was rainy, and it's in the middle of the countryside, so there was mud, there were grass, there were sheep around, and so I had a jacket, but it wasn't warm enough. So I highly recommend a jacket, a scarf, maybe an umbrella, some wellies or some rain boots, or just some closed-toed shoes, because you're gonna be in the countryside and there's no shelter there. You can't go up to the stones or touch them or go inside them unless you have a special pass, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But come prepared and dress for the elements, okay? In the summertime, when the sun is beaming down your head, bring some type of sunscreen, but generally it's kind of cold up there, so bring a jacket, a light umbrella. Also bring your camera. You can take photos everywhere, and with the way the site's set up, once the bus drops you off, you then walk up a little distance, maybe about a 2-minute walk, and you can walk 360 degrees all around the site and take photos from different angles. There are also pretty informative stations there where you can kind of read more about the Neolithic times, maybe some astrology, and some more theories about why Stonehenge is there and why it exists. And did you also know that Stonehenge offers a couple of special events during the year? Yeah, so one of them is a nighttime tour where you can go with one of the center's staff and actually go in the middle of Stonehenge and learn more about ancient astronomy, astrophotography, special nighttime visits, and a whole lot more at different points during the year. So these events can either be free or come at an additional price. So check that website out for more details. Stonehenge was only part of our tour. We also stopped by Bath as well as Windsor. So go ahead and click that subscribe button because I'm going to release those videos with some helpful tips on visiting those places, as well as my vlog, so you can see what it was like for me to kind of freeze out there and get a first-hand look at Stonehenge, Bath, and Windsor. But in the meantime, check out my Planning a Trip to London playlist where I talk about things to do, how to get around London on a budget, Royal Day Out. Check those videos out for your trip and share this video with a friend. And like I always like to say, now that you know more about visiting Stonehenge and a day trip from London, it's time for you to get excited about your visit, have the freedom to frolic and the courage to buy those tickets and then go have an amazing time. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.